Sometimes you guys make me do things that I really don't want to do, and it turns out to be an absolute blast. And this video was really fun, but it was also pain. Like, it was so much troubleshooting and figuring out why things aren't working and figuring out why mythic mobs just isn't formatting correctly. It's kind of weird, but it was very fun to make, and it did really well. And because of that, I'm making a part 2, even though I know it'll take another couple weeks, and I probably will not enjoy the process. I'm making a part 2 so I can have more of your attention on the internet. Thanks, viewer. Enjoy the video. Hello everyone, my name is Void Doctor, and a few weeks ago I made a video, and in that video I made custom Minecraft mobs. I made a mythical stone creature and a little hobbit-sized little thief that would try and kill you, and I really enjoyed making those custom Minecraft mobs, and you guys seem to really enjoy watching that because it got, let's do the math real quick, around 10 to 20 times more views than my usual long-form content. So you all really seem to enjoy watching that video, and I really enjoyed creating it and making it, so I'm making a part 2. So this is part 2 of making custom Minecraft mobs. So every good custom mob starts with good inspiration, so I'm just going to spend a while flipping through books and other resources, just trying to see if I can find anything that, you know, catches my eye, and put a little spin on it. Just steal it and put a little spin on it, because that's exactly how I make these videos too. I swear to God, that was a joke. Please don't cancel me for trying to copy other creators, because that was a joke. But before we move on, if you all are really enjoying these videos and want to see more of them, they do take quite a while to make, so the best way to help me make more of them and to help the channel grow is to hit like and subscribe. It's 2 simple, free clicks, and helps the channel out a bunch. Thank you, have a good day, on to the video. Alright, so my friend who I was in a Discord call with gave me some inspiration. I just told him, you know, name any sort of mythological creature and I'll build it in Blockbench and add it to Minecraft, right? He said Hydra. Now, there's a very interesting piece of Hydra lore, I guess you could say. And it's that whenever you cut off one of their heads, it like regrows, and I think it actually multiplies, like it regrows 3 more heads. I obviously am not going to do that because I don't want to do that. So instead, probably the game mechanic will just be it regenerates health every time you cut off one of its heads till like, so you cut off one of its heads, so it's only it's at 66 or 66% of its health. It'll go up to like 90% of its health, and then every time so it just takes a lot longer to kill it. Then as soon as you cut off all 3 of its heads, it's dead. That will require a lot of programming, and I doubt that I'll actually be able to add that to the game, but hopefully I can. That'd be pretty cool. Alright folks, so I've finally finished the necks and the heads, and I think it actually looks really cool. I think the whole boss looks pretty impressive, especially from a distance out here. You can't really tell that there's a bunch of like weird joints and stuff going on, and I think it looks pretty Minecrafty. Obviously when we get a texture on here, he should look a lot cooler, but I still think he looks really cool right now. And now I'm going to start working on the legs. This has actually been pretty fun because it's just a lot of copying and pasting. Like I built an entire neck, copied it, and pasted it, and head, paste. So yeah, it's pretty simple, but it's still really fun. The scary part is when you have to deal with animating, and then you have to figure out why some things aren't working, and it's because you forgot to add the rotation points. That's when it starts to get really annoying. Okay, I'm actually really liking this leg joint. Now I just have to make it 4 more times. Alright, all 4 legs are complete and pivot pointed up. As you can see right here, they all look fairly symmetrical, which is a good thing because usually legs and stuff don't look symmetrical because pivot points are weird. But yeah, now it's time to add a tail. I wish I could go into F5 for this. But yeah, I am not very confident in my ability making tails. Whenever I attempt to draw a tail, it ends up looking like some sort of deformed appendage, which is not the goal. A tail's an appendage? I don't think so. But yeah, so hopefully this goes better than it does when I attempt to draw a tail, and that should be the case because I'm not drawing, I'm messing up with cubes and rectangles. So this should go better than it usually does. Alright, I've finished getting everything all set up here. I really think the tail actually looks quite nice. Obviously, I'll have it be animated when we're, you know, actually animating this thing. But I think the whole thing looks pretty cool. It doesn't exactly look like a Hydra in the traditional sense, but it looks pretty Minecrafty, and I just think this, yeah, it looks like it would fit into the game really well. So now I'm just going to add a basic coat of paint, you know, just take the fill bucket and just add the basic colors that I want around here, and then we'll go again, adding some more complex texturing and things. Alright, I guess I'm a little bit ahead of where I said I was going to be, but yeah, I started actually adding some texture here, and I think it went in a very different direction than I thought it would go. I thought this guy was going to be sort of like just sort of like a regular dragon, kind of, I don't know, what color is your regular dragon? I don't know, but it ended up looking a lot more nethery than I thought it would, and I think it looks really cool this way. You know, these three sort of fiery mouths in here, and that sort of like fiery tail out there. It looks really neat, and I have these like nether cracks looking like, I don't know, maybe scales or something. So yeah, I think it looks really cool. So now I'm just going to finish texturing the rest of this guy and move on to animation. So FYI, if you want to animate in Blockbench, be prepared for soul-sucking time and energy spent doing this. It's taken me a good 6 hours to get this animation down. Just these two. I don't even have an attack animation down. To be fair, the idle and walk are the most tedious because the attack we really only have to move. At least for this one, I'm only gonna have the middle head sort of just snap down and bite because it's gonna be its main attack. It's like a biting attack, and they'll maybe program in a fire attack if I really want to, but probably not. So yeah, it's pretty soul-sucking. Alright, I've finally finished animating the Hydra mob here, and I think all the animations look pretty good. For being a mob that is both very complex in design and has 3 heads, I think the animations are pretty good. Like, this is the breathing animation, just sort of the idle animation. This is the walk animation, as you can see here. It's pretty simple, but I think it gets the job done. And I like how it almost looks like a spider animation. And here's the attack animation. Looks up at you because it's actually quite a short mob. And so it looks up at you and bites you. And then looks back down again. It's like 19 pixels high. The player's like 30 something pixels high. So it's around a little bit above your waist. So it's not very tall, but yeah, it's supposed to be like a mob that you see around the nether, sort of just wandering around, but it should do a ton of damage because I'm going to give it a Ravager AI. So yeah, that should be pretty fun. But yeah, now I'm just going to work on actually adding it to the game. Alright, so as you can see, the Hydra is in the game, but pretty much everything except the model for the mob is broken. And I guess the AI isn't broken, but everything else is completely broken. The head rotation points are broken. The skills are kind of broken. So I think we're just going to leave it at that. Mythic Mobs is having a little bit of trouble dealing with the fact that it has 3 heads, I think. So yeah, I don't think there's I don't think there's a way to work around that, so maybe it wasn't a very smart choice to try to make a 3-headed mob, but it still looks cool nonetheless, and it was a fun project to work on just modeling it. So now it's time to work on the next mythic mob. Alright folks, so I think I finally had a pretty cool idea for what kind of custom mob I want to make next, and that, as you can see here, is the Enderbird. And that's as if you took an Enderman, or just a Shulker, or whatever sort of end-based mob, and combined it with a Phantom. And so my thinking behind this is the End Islands, you know, the space between them, is not scary enough already. So I want to add a mob that will just hit you off your end bridges if you get too close to it. Because we all know that adding mobs that annoy the heck out of the community has never gone wrong for any sort of developers. But jokes aside, this is more just to add some more ambience and really increase the sort of desolate, I don't know, almost sad nature of the end, you know, sort of the wasteland left to rot. So I want to kind of have the Enderbird sort of feel like it's falling apart, like sort of tattered wings, that kind of stuff. I think it would look pretty cool, so I'm going to get designing the Enderbird. This looks so cool, this like tattered wing. I don't know why, but this looks really neat. But man, getting all these cubes aligned and ready, it's been probably a solid hour getting this guy all looking good. This has been a long time already, and I'm not even far in. I only have a wing, a body, a head, and an Enderbird. Woohoo. Alright, so I really think this stark contrast between the tattered, sort of decaying wing and then the whole, I don't know, normal looking bird wing is really neat, and I really want to carry that over in the texturing. Obviously I still have a little bit more building to do of actual cubes and things, but I kind of want to carry that over in the texturing. I want to have this feel like a dead, sort of decaying, dying bird, bones poking out from the tattering flesh and feathers, and have this just sort of be a normal looking bird, maybe with some interesting end like colors, and have this, maybe have the beak be end stone looking. This should look really cool. So yeah, I'm really excited for how this is going to look. And I also realized this sort of reflects my Minecraft skin. One half of it's this like weird corrupted purple and just sort of, I don't know, it looks like, yeah, it looks like I'm literally being taken over by some sort of virus or disease. And the other side, it's just a normal human. So yeah, I feel like it sort of reflects my Minecraft skin in a sort of beautiful way. All right, so as you saw in that time lapse, I've gotten everything set up for animating now. I've gotten everything textured, and I think these bone textures actually look really cool. I got the tail all set up, the beak looks pretty nice, and I also got the hitbox here. It just, again, like I mentioned in episode 1 of this series now, because I'm making this a series apparently, the hitbox has to be a perfect square, and it also has to, the rotation height, like the height of the rotation point, has to be right around the head height. So this guy's head height is right here. It's actually kind of below the body. It's kind of weird. So yeah, that's where the rotation point is. So the hitbox is all figured out. Now I'm just going to go animate this guy. Should be pretty simple since he doesn't have a mouth or anything like that. So no attack animation, kind of just a swoop down and like sort of swoop down and then go back up, sort of like that. So should look pretty cool. Alright folks, so I finally finished all of the animations, and I actually think they really look quite nice. As you can see here, here's the idle animation. I mean, it would look kind of strange for these guys to be an idle, but I guess if I'm going to be giving them mob AI, like random stroll objectives, they have to be idle at some point. So yes, there does need, unfortunately, to be an idle animation. Right here, the walk animation is just sort of a faster version of the idle animation with a little bit of tail movement as well. And then the attack animation is really just a steep dive and then back up and, you know, just sort of diving at the player like a normal Phantom does, except a little bit of a shorter dive, a little bit more steep. So yeah, I think all these animations look really nice, and I'm just gonna sort of make sure nothing went wrong here, and then we can export it and put it into the game. Alright folks, our Enderbird mob is complete and in the game, and looking a bit funky right now because my computer is not having a very good day today. So yeah, I still think he looks pretty cool though, and I like the just sort of subtle animation that it's probably pretty hard to detect right now since it's, again, very framey. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this is such a necessary addition to the game that Mojang should really consider just having some sort of flying mob, maybe not a bird, but just some sort of flying mob in between the end islands to make bridging more challenging, since bridging right now is a little, I'm being serious right now, bridging is a little overpowered in my opinion. There should be some sort of actual challenge to getting in between the end islands that's not just the prospect of falling into the void, because if you have shift on toggle and you don't accidentally hit shift with your pinky, there's no chance that you could be knocked off unless you have some very, 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 very mean friends. But yeah, so now the Enderbird is your very mean friends, but in single player. As you can see here, I've spawned in an Enderbird mob, and so if I go into survival mode, he'll target me and hopefully knock me off my bridge. Come on, come back in for another attack. Come on. And there we go. I need to get, oh my gosh. Imagine if I died while recording this video. This is pretty much a creative only video. Imagine if I died. That would be very embarrassing. But yeah, the Enderbird I think really serves my original thing, you know, its original purpose that I created it for very well. It sort of just adds some life and, well, not life. It makes this place feel even more desolate. The end. It makes it feel like even more of an abandoned wasteland as it's literally decaying. So yeah, I don't know. I actually think Mojang should maybe consider this being added to the game. But all in all, I think we've managed to create some really awesome mobs today. We've created the 3-headed Hydra mob, which I think belongs in the Basalt Delta 100% in the Nether with its crimson color profile. I don't know, I just think that looks really neat in the Basalt Delta. And the Enderbird flying around in the end, just adding a lot of, you know, sad, I don't know, just making the end feel like a lot more sad of a dimension. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and As always, my name has been Void Doctor. Please like, subscribe, and share if you did enjoy today's video and feel inclined to do so. And I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye for now.